Just how big a win is landing Facebook, or I should say Meta, as a customer for AMD?
Now, 10 of the largest hyperscalers, including Meta, are using AMD EPYC. So we're extremely excited about it. I think it's really just goes to say a little bit about, sort of our long-term focus on the data center. We are working and partnering with the most important companies in the world.
This now means you are working with so many of these hyperscalers, including not just Meta, but Microsoft and Amazon and Google.
This has been, our focus over the last 4 or 5 years has been really to, build up the capabilities in the data center. We see the data center as one of the most exciting, if not the most exciting market in semiconductors. There's this massive need for high performance computing, and each one of these, large hyperscalers are doing such, unique and innovative things. So, we're honored, frankly, to be partnered with all of them. I think it says a lot about the technology that you need and sort of the multi-generational roadmap that you need. And, being able to partner with the best means that you learn how to make your roadmap even stronger, going forward.
Now, I do want to talk a little bit about Meta and its bet on the metaverse. A lot of people still don't know what the metaverse is. Just how big an opportunity do you think the metaverse will be, and what do you see as AMD's role in it?
Yeah, so look, we're excited. If I just take a step back, Emily, and talk about sort of high performance computing and, what, we believe is that there's really this mega cycle around needing more computing in so many different applications, whether you're talking about collaboration applications or you're talking about, research applications, or you're talking about, analyzing massive amounts of data. And yes, the metaverse is even the next thing, on top of it. We believe it's a very large opportunity if you look at, high performance computing in its entirety. I think the metaverse is, one of those areas that many people are talking about in terms of, how do you really bring together, virtual reality and mixed reality together with all of the collaboration that we're doing now. I think we have new expectations of what life is like post-pandemic, so it's an exciting vision. And, we view it as an opportunity where you need high performance, CPUs or microprocessors and high performance graphics and GPUs and artificial intelligence and machine learning and visualization and really bringing all of that together. And, we're unique in the sense that, we really do look at sort of the end-to-end use cases and really work with our partners on making that happen. As the markets get larger, you see more and more specialization. So no question, our EPYC product family and our general purpose, data center, server processors have done extremely well. And, we're going to continue to be very, very aggressive on that roadmap. But the fact is there are these large use cases around high performance computing and AI, and those need GPUs, and we can put them together in a very efficient way in a system. We also announced today that we're broadening our offerings to include a cloud-focused, processor line.
It'll be interesting to see just how much the metaverse proper is part of that growth. I'm curious if you have an idea of when you think we will see this new universe, if you will, really come alive, especially for the mainstream.
And we'll see things, come together incrementally over the next few years. But I like to think of the metaverse, it's not going to be like one big bang that you're going to see everything come out. You're going to see, really products building on each other and capabilities building on each other. And, the fundamental underneath that is you need, great high performance processing technology, which is what we're working on.
And if we take a step back to Facebook's earnings announcement, where they guided their 2022 CapEx to as much as $34 billion. And I think that needs to be put in context. That's more than Taiwan Semiconductor spends per year. And that's the world's largest foundry in terms of making the actual chips. So the infrastructure investment that Facebook is making is massive. They went out of their way to talk about the incremental spend towards AI and ML, so artificial intelligence and machine learning chips. And those chips that are best suited for that happen to be parallel processing chips, which are GPUs, so the graphic processing units that AMD and NVIDIA put out. So AMD and NVIDIA are really in the sweet spot in terms of the trends that are happening at Facebook in terms of incremental CapEx. Microsoft has already endorsed the metaverse even just last week, right? So if you're Microsoft, if you're Amazon, if you're Google, you're going to see incremental CapEx follow this announcement. So I think Facebook is at the forefront of this. And you're going to see billions and billions continue to be invested in terms of AI, ML type architecture. As it was noted, AMD now is sporting, mid 20% market share in terms of core compute with respect to the server end market, and that's the most important end market. It's stickier revenue. We're talking about Microsoft's, Facebook's, the world that are customers, higher margin, and Lisa Su and the entire team has really done an amazing job from an execution standpoint. So not only is it about the market share that has already been established, but it's investors willing to ascribe that premium multiple because AMD probably, I am sure they are not planning on stopping at 25%, right? Their number one competitor, Intel, in traditional compute is clearly wounded while while AMD is able to leverage TSMC's process technology roadmap and really advance ahead. Everyone in this show has kept talking about bricks and mortar, and you look at the entire supply chain. Taiwan Semiconductor is AMD's largest partner, right? They are producing all of these chips, and these chips are massive, which we can certainly get into. If you go back to Facebook's announcement in terms of them increasing spend to up to $34 billion in calendar 2022, Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg on the call, there's no intention to monetize this anytime soon, right? We're talking about revenue generating opportunities potentially in 2030 and beyond. So we're still just building the infrastructure. So that CapEx profile is going to go up and to the right from here, and that baseline is up 70% into 2022. Then you layer on the incremental spend from Microsoft, from Google, from Amazon, and anyone that it plans on entering the metaverse. And you think about video games and how that can play into the mix. I mean, we're talking about a number that could be certainly hundreds of billions of dollars in terms of the infrastructure. Specifically to your question, Mel, with respect to the chips that are getting produced. I alluded to this earlier, but these chips are, in some cases 5 to 8 times larger than the chip that goes into your cell phone, right? We're talking about chips that are 800 to 1,000 millimeters squared. So these are monster chips, and the semiconductor capital equipment supply chain also benefits in a tremendous way.
The metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg seems to think towards the end of this decade that's going to be a huge potential business opportunity.
We believe, this vision of the next 5 to 10 years, whether you're talking about high performance computing, artificial intelligence, machine learning, or the metaverse, you just need more performance. And actually, you need more tailoring and customization of compute capability. So, we're investing heavily in this thing called heterogeneous computing. It's the idea that, you have the right compute for the right workload. And, that's across our entire portfolio, CPUs, GPUs, and frankly, this is where Xilinx really comes in nicely with FPGAs and adaptive computing. So together, we'll have all the components to enable that metaverse and much, much more. I'm really proud of what we've been able to do in our supply chain. When we started this year, we were thinking that we were going to grow, 37% year on year. With our fourth quarter guide, we're now guiding to 65% year on year. And that comes with, one, very strong demand. So we're in the right markets with the right products. But that also comes with sort of a deep set of partnerships on the supply chain side. So we've been able to unlock incremental supply as we've gone through the year. It is an area where, everybody is investing in capacity. We're investing in capacity. It is, certainly an area where we believe that we'll continue to differentiate ourselves. And going into 2022, I think there's more capacity coming online. And it's just about getting, when we talk about match sets, it's just making sure that, each of these systems has, thousands of components and just making sure that you have all of the various pieces. But I'm really happy with how we've, managed through this, supply chain, situation. And I think that this is, again, a differentiator for us in our growth objectives.